Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Happy Monday to you all. I hope that everyone has had a good week. Today, as I put up that post today, that I wanted to talk a little bit about moving past rejection. And for those who are just now getting to know me, my name is Michelle Harris, and I provide strategies and resources to individuals to help them to up level their lives and to live in their purpose fulfilled. So as I put up that post on earlier today, talking about rejection, and many a times when people think about when I say rejection, they think of people who have just, may have just truly mistreated them. Many times people think about narcissistic parents or behaviors or people that they dealt with on their job. But sometimes it can be rejection can be something that can be outright where you can see it, but sometimes it may be something that it may be behaviors or how you may be treated. When I was listening to that song, and that was one song that I really, really liked, even when I was going through my own healing process. And that song I shared, it was by Andy, and it talked about being bitter. And in that song, the first part of it really hit me because he starts talking about, has anyone you dealt with feelings of rejection and it feels like you have been hit in your big section? When he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, because whenever you have been at a place that you have experienced any form of rejection, it hurts. I think I shared before, many people talk about sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But words do hurt. They really, really hurt. And so many a times, you even think about even in school, right? Wherein you may have not been able to play with someone, they may have not wanted to play with you, you may have been in the in crowd. It could have been dealing with bullying, could have been, you showing doing your favorite picture and you showing it to your parents and they're saying, no, you could do better. That's not good enough. Or even with a teacher, you talking and you sharing some things with a teacher, and you think about even whenever we are in classes and we have certain areas that are for the smart children, then you have those for the children that may not be at a place they are able to be in that place, in that space. Then you have ones they consider, they said, quote unquote, not performing well. They would say in the slow class, we call them the slow class. I'm just gonna be real with it. So, we have been kind of taught on different ways of having classes of forms of rejection that can be an impact in your life. It can come in so many ways. Even sometimes in relationships, you may have friends, that you were once close with, and now you all are not as close anymore. Boyfriends, husband, wife, you're trying to show some affection. They're not giving you that love. It was once there. And one thing that I will say is, dealing with this thing of rejection, it affects all socioeconomic statuses. I've dealt with people in high level positions, people who were in leadership positions, down to children in school. It affects everyone. And sometimes we really don't realize how rejection can have an impact in your life. Many times we don't really truly understand how, even in the things that are not blatantly, that how it can impact you. And I can just share a story with myself. Whenever I started out in the field, I was doing it was my internship at the time. And while I was doing my internship, I remember going into preparing to go out to do a home visit. And I remember this group of people were talking in another room. And I remember hearing this man refer to me as a black monkey. And I was like, oh my gosh. I called my mom and I was crying. I was like, God, I can't believe that they said this. I can't believe they did that. all this stuff. And of course, she told me, you go back, you show up every day, and you do the work and you do what you need to do. Of course, it was not much that I could do because I'm in school, I'm in college. They probably could reprimand them, but that was definitely my grade. But it definitely had an impact on me on how I used to interact in positions wherein I was definitely the minority, or I may have been the only Black female. I always felt like I had to succeed more. I had to, even though I had the degree, I had the training, but I always felt like I had to perform even on a different and a higher level than my counterparts due to some of the treatment that I experienced during my time. Also, sometimes in relationships, I had gotten accustomed to whenever I was in relationships, I'm always a fixer. So many a times I would attract people that needed assistance and help. And so dealing in relationships, whenever they got to that place that they got well, I, number one, felt like, what else can I do to help this person along the way? Because I don't feel like I can help them. And then number two, whenever they got better and then they went on to something else, I began to start questioning my worth, because how is it that I give so much to people, and I am a giving person? Because I'm a giving person. I'm a very person. I joke a lot, but I am a giving person. So I began to question my worth, because how is it that I'm going through this situation and I'm trying to help people as much as I can, but I don't really know what my worth really is? Because the people that I'm trying to show love to, it seems as though that once they get to that capacity and they get whatever they're going to get, they go ahead and go about their business. And that's how I began to look at how I used to handle relationships. Dealing with rejection can come in so many ways and so many forms that we don't even recognize sometimes. Of even whenever we are in church groups and we have people that are in certain groups, and if I'm not part of that group, then I won't be able to have certain things, or I may not feel like I'm included, or a person may say, I feel like I'm different because I'm not conforming to everyone else. So I may like certain different things from different people. So I don't feel like I can really fit in. That is a form of feeling like some form of rejection. And how it can impact you, as I talked about how this thing of rejection can impact you, it can really work on your heart and your mind and your spirit. And when it begins to start working on your mindset, it will have you, as I said, with myself, and I'm just being very transparent tonight because I hope that this will help someone along the way, because I'm very much of a perfectionist. And anytime, my mom taught me well, but also she always had the motto that if you did not do anything right, if it was not going to be done right, don't do it at all. So don't bring her any junk. So I would definitely question myself many a times in relationships and things that I do, because I'm trying to figure out, how can I perfect this thing? How can I have things perfect? How can I be able to have things? And it hinders, because I'm trying to make sure that everything is packaged together, as opposed to sometimes allowing people to see the real me. I feel like I have to have it together. I don't want to push people away. I don't want to do certain things, and operating in various systems. I began to start thinking that I really wasn't able, I was walking in a truth, but it wasn't the real truth, because I will only allow people to see a certain side of me. And there are some times where walls will be built up, because I am trying to ensure that I keep everything safe and secure. But I want to bring out this scripture here. I'm going to read Hebrews, the 12th chapter, and I'm going to read from the Passion Translation, if I can get this phone to work on this live. Because this phone trying to act like it didn't want to open up, like it doesn't know this code here. So it's Hebrews chapter 12, and I'm going to read verse 15. And I hope that this helps someone on tonight when you are at that place and you have been feeling some form of rejection. You've been questioning yourself. You've been at a place and you've been trying to figure things out. You've been thinking that you're not good enough. You've been feeling like I'm not at that place. I want to be able to help you on tonight. As I'm reading the Passion Translation, it reads here, it says, watch over each other to make sure that no one misses the revelation that of God's grace, and that no one lives with a root of bitterness sprouting up within them, because it will only cause trouble and poisons of the heart of many. I want you to start thinking about whenever we have dealt with some form of rejection, bitterness can sometimes get within your heart. And I think about different people who have caused hurt, and sometimes, and I have to laugh because I'm gonna be real, because even us as Christian people, sometimes, you know, we praying and we know we're supposed to forgive, but we sometimes want God to get people back sometimes for what they do. Can I just be real on tonight? Sometimes when people have come in and have violated our boundaries, violated, knowing that they have done wrong, knowing that they have mistreated, knowing that they have talked sideways, knowing that they have done dirty, our hearts can get into a place that we want revenge. Now, we may not be at a place we want to kill them, but sometimes them David prayers, when he was in that place and he was like, God, just smite him down, and God just had something to happen to him. We have those moments sometimes whenever we have been at a place of being hurt. I know that when I heard that man refer to me as a black monkey, everything in me wanted to go up and let that man know a thing or two, because I was not all the way saved. Okay, I wanted to let that man know, listen, do you know who you're talking to? There have been times when people who have hurt me and they know that they did wrong, and then you know that people that know that they did wrong, and then they try to flip it on you to make you feel like you crazy. This is when stuff can start building up in your heart, that you begin to not only question that, but then you begin to start thinking, is there going to be any justice for what was done to me? When I start reflecting on that song and when he said bitter, he started talking about, you know, having walls, not being able to fully trust people. And even he talked about relationship with his dad, and how even though, you know, he knew his dad's number, but he never had his dad's number saved, because of how his dad treated him and how his dad tried to just push away the times that he was not involved in his life, and how he expected him to just be this wonderful Christian, to be able to just let things go by and just forgive and just have the relationship to move forward. Because many a times they will say, well, we have to forgive 70 times 7, and that we have to begin to move forward. But that stuff is still within our heart, because that thing hurts. Whenever I was out on that job, or whenever I was in relationships and I tried to help people, whether it was friends, family, because even family would do it to you, wherein I've tried to help and I tried my best to be able to give really true love, and to not have it in return, that thing can hurt. Because it will make you think of, what is it about me that they felt like they could treat me that way? Or you begin to start thinking at a place, can I even trust them anymore? You begin to start questioning yourself. And even if they have said some negative things to you and said some things where they have mistreated you, you begin to start receiving those negative messages. When I began to have things happen to me time and time again, and I would start thinking, like, what in the world is wrong with me? Why is it that I can't make good decisions? Why is it that I keep allowing these type of people into my life that are users, that's at this place where they're not giving me the love that's reciprocated? And as the scripture says, that the root of business started building up. It started sprouting up. So then I began to have walls. And like one of my clients said, he's a bubble. I was like, sir, that's the same thing. Only thing with bubbles is that you're able to look through and see through. Walls are just walls that are up. So we try to make it seem like what we're doing right. I've got to protect my peace. I'm just going to be able to deal with the people that's going to give me the same energy. I'm not going to be able to deal with people. I can't fool with people on that level. But I talked about even Judas has a purpose in our lives. And what we fail to realize is we cannot allow ourselves to be defined about people, places, things, and situations. We have to define ourselves by the love of God. We have to be able to start working through that rejection, to not allow that bitterness to build up in our hearts. And many times we will work through what we will say false forgiveness. We will say, I forgive them. But what we fail to realize is forgiveness is not for you. It is not for you. It is not for you to say, okay, well, I just forgive them. I'm just going to be able to move forward. It's not to be able to give them a pass, but it is at a place where you're able to walk in freedom, for you to be able to release the chains. Because what happens is when we hold on to that bitterness, when we hold on to that rejection, when we hold on to the things that they said, they're going on sleeping good. They're sleeping good. They're going on about their lives. And we're yet holding on. We have given them the key. We have said, I forgive you. And we have in turn taken all of this stuff within us, walked back into the jail cell, and now we are holding on and we are holding ourselves back because we've given them a pass, but yet we're holding on to our past and we can't move forward to the future. I'm going to say that again. We have given them their past, PASS, but we have not let go of our past, PAST. So now we can't move forward to the future. We cannot allow for that thing to build up in our heart. And there will be times that I'll be sitting here ruminating about things that people have done. How did they hurt me? How did they do that? How can I, think about revenge or how I'm going to be able to address this thing, or I'm not going to allow this to happen into my life again, and start thinking about plotting stuff. But only thing what was building up was bitterness. And then it affects how you begin to start trying to go into new relationships or new friendships, new ventures, new purposes. But I cannot move forward because guess what? I'm still holding on to the past, because it's going to come here and it's going to come to my mind. You remember, because if they do something that's a reminder, you remember when your mom did such and such, and now here comes Tracy into your life, and here she is doing the same thing. So here it is. We're still holding on. When I tell people, when we talking about, forgiveness, this thing is not just about me and myself, because if I just focus on this part right now, I'm not going to be able to be at a place, because I'm going to be looking at so much of what has happened, what has gone on, and I'm not going to be able to hold on to this. We have to be at a place that we have to be able to release. We have to be at a place when we're saying, okay, I'm ready to let this thing go. I cannot continually hold on and allow for this bitterness to sprout up within me. That's poisoning my heart. As someone just said here, I love this. It said, drinking the poison and expecting others to die. Let it go. Forgive and let it go. But we're still on that poison. We're still allowing that thing to be within us. And the thing about it is, when we hold on to it more and more, it's like mildew building up within us, because we're not going to let go and release. We have to be at that place of saying no more. I could not allow myself or anyone else. And when I say myself, I could not allow myself, my thoughts of what I perceived of how people treated me, define of what was going to be my next step in my life. So I encourage you on tonight that if there is anything that you have been holding on to, if there are any thoughts that you have been receiving in your mind because of how people have mistreated you, I don't care if it was your grandmother, grandfather, the matriarch, the patriarch of the family. I don't care if it was the best friend. I don't care if it was the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband or wife for 20 to 30 years. Let it go. How to be able to let go? First thing is we have to start defining ourselves the way that God sees us. Many times we don't even know who we are. One of the hardest things sometimes in an interview is describing yourself. Now, we be with ourselves 24/7, but when we have to describe ourselves, many times it's hard and difficult because we are at a point like, okay, now what is it that I like? What is it I do? What are my triggers? What is this? What is that? We have to begin to start really getting into who am I truly in God? What is truly my purpose in God? Who am I? What is it that are some of my triggers? Why is it that I work towards this goal time and time again, but I keep getting at a standstill? Why is it that I make these New Year's resolutions, but yet I can't continue to move forward? Why is it that I said I'm going to go into this new relationship, and then I get with someone that's finally treat me with some love, but I'm doing self-sabotaging behaviors because I can't truly accept love? It's something going on with here of the messages that I have received within myself, that I have began to define myself by how people have treated me, of how I have been received by other people, how people have handled me, and I am not allowing myself to be able to move forward. So I have to start looking at how am I? Who am I in God? And then looking to address those behaviors and those thoughts. We have to start going to not only defining ourselves, but doing a redefinition. What do you mean by redefinition? I have to start uprooting some of those thoughts and some of those behaviors. Because at the end of the day, if I don't address it, I'm going to continually deal with some of the same things time and time again until I am able to overcome it. So I have to be able to master this thing. I have to be able to master my self-esteem. I have to be able to master being able to work past every obstacle. I have to be able to master whenever I hit those mental roadblocks. I have to be able to master whenever I begin to start feeling that nervousness, whenever I have to go stand in front of people because I do not feel like I'm good enough. I have to start practicing and start redefining myself. How do you start doing that? I have to start in putting within me the things that I know about myself. I have to start in putting in me the things that I know that God said about me. I have to get into the word and remind myself that I am loved, that I am created with a purpose, that whatever they did, I know it hurt. I know I cried. I have to recognize those triggers. I have to recognize that pain. I have to accept it, that it hurt, but I cannot allow for them any longer to define where I am and where I'm going to go. I have to let it go. That is not an easy process, but it's possible. And when you start getting to that other side and really start seeing that, okay, this is what happened, because really and truly, many times what we fail to realize is that when people reject you, they really are rejecting themselves. When people aren't able to love you properly, whether it is your family, friends, if they're not able to love you properly, somewhere along the way, They were not able to be shown that love as well. So they doing what they know. Yes, they should know better, but this is not, I can't be held liable for them, but I am held liable for me. And I have to be accountable for me and my response. So the question that I would like to ask you on tonight is, what is going to be your response? We just celebrated Valentine's and we talk about love. And then, you know, people are sending out the scriptures of the greatest thing is love is God. They talk about John 3:16. But do we really truly accept that love, to have this love within ourselves, to truly release that thing, and knowing that we have been rejected, we have dealt with some things, but I am not going to allow myself to be defined by that anymore, and I'm going to choose to move forward. I'm going to choose to move forward. No longer going to be bound by that. No longer going to be bound by the situation. No longer going to be bound by what people say. Because when I have this definition of God, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So I want to say to you on tonight that you matter. God did not create junk. The rejection came, it hurt, and I encourage you to make a choice to heal on tonight. I encourage you to make that choice to define yourself as God defines you. I encourage you on tonight to choose to make a choice tonight to choose you and choose your purpose and to walk in it and not allow how they treated you to hold you back. Go forward. Walk and embrace that love. You have the ability to move forward. Walk in it. I am so excited that a lot of y'all were able to share on tonight. Please like and share. Know that you are more than a conqueror. You are walking in purpose in 2024. We're walking into some new things. And listen, please again, like and share. And also, I know some of you all saw that I will be hosting a day pajama party soon. The tickets will be dropping soon, so stay tuned because it will be limited seating. It will be an intimate setting, but we're going to come in. We're going to laugh. We're going to release women. We're going to have some fun together. All right. You all have a blessed night. Walk in purpose. Walk into that place that God, you know that God has for you. And I'm so thankful that you are joining in. Please like and share again. And you all have a blessed night. Bye.